Hey guys, welcome. All I see is me. I don't see my friend Chad yet, but we are Dentists in the Know. Welcome to Hump Day Happy Hour. This is your backstage look at current trends, politics, and education. It's all in the dental world, and it's live over a cocktail. I'm Jeff Horowitz. My co-hosts are not here, but they're Chad Duplantis and Dr. Jennifer Bell. Otherwise known as JB. You guys should call her JB too. All of us are practicing dentists, catapult educators, and business owners. Our job is to bring you in the know. So there he is. I knew one of them would make it back. Chad, JB, how you guys doing?
We're good. I don't think Chad was being
doing great, Jeff. That was totally just a play on you. I was just going to let you run with it for a while and just be like, I just couldn't do it, you know?
Do you know, the one thing, so, I always say to Rudy when I'm talking to him, Farouk Hakim, who's been on the show before, I'm like, Rudy, I talk a big game, but at the end of the day, I got nothing. But the truth is, the one thing I do have is the gift of gab. So I could have pulled it off if I needed to.
I know you could have, Jeff, but I was just going to let you go for a while. JB and I were down in the green room, laughing at you, laughing with you. We were laughing with you.
Yeah, we're not laughing with you. We're laughing at you.
Well, that's it. That's it. Yeah. We're laughing at you. Yeah. So,
man, it's good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
I'm firing on all cylinders now. Life is good.
Life is really good. It's great. It's awesome. So
it is. So tell me what's going on in your lives. How was your week?
JB, ladies first.
Well, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. Monday was a lot of fun with two of my friends doing a webinar together, and that was very surreal. So I enjoyed that very much. And gosh, guys, I'm just feeling that December crunch. Everybody wanting to get everything done before the end of the year. I feel like there's just not enough time of the day. And I think it's artificially inflated by people genuinely concerned that things are going to shut down again. And maybe they're not going to be able to get access to the things that they think are going to be there for them. So you've got the December normal crunch where everybody's trying to consolidate in, but then you add the added pressure of COVID. It just feels really busy right now. How about y'all? How do you feel?
I could not agree more. December is a crazy month. You just feel like you go. And then, like today I had an Invisalign patient in and I was like, all right, well, we'll see you in 2 weeks. And my assistant's looking at me going, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to squeeze you in during lunch in 2 weeks for the first 15 minutes of lunch. And it's okay. I always tell my team, it's okay if I don't get a lunch. But, there's a lot that happened this year, and I don't want to badmouth anybody, but I wish that the insurance companies would at least give the patient some grace to use those benefits that they did not get the opportunity to use when we were all shut down. There's so many things that have been delayed and been allowed, and insurance just, once again, just doesn't really get it. And I hope that maybe that will change. And towards the end of the year, they say, hey, we're going to give you 90 days of grace. But I don't know. I don't see it happening. But I wish that maybe they'd catch on like everybody else has.
I know they've been lobbying a little bit to try to get that, the 2 cleanings to not have to, for some insurance companies, not to have them 6 months and 1 day apart. I know they've been trying, but, much like the wheels of government, it's moving a little bit slow to get some of that stuff changed. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and remember too, insurance companies, they're in the business of not paying benefits. That's how they make money, is not paying benefits. So, I understand, you and I and JB as small business owners, we all think like we have to get it. We have to be consumer friendly. The insurance companies do not. I mean, in states like South Carolina, where there are so few choices, they could do whatever they want for the most part. And maybe that day will end, and I hope it does. But, you know, that's the whole deal about competition. It's what makes competition great is people have to try a little bit harder and actually try to please their customers. But from insurance companies, we're not going to see that right now. So, JB, to your point, yeah, it's a big crunch right now. Typically December is always the busiest month of the year. And add on that, I was out for 2 weeks, and one of those weeks I had to close the entire office because other people tested positive. Yep. So you can imagine the backlog that we have right now, and you know, it's a good problem to have, but it's a little stressful too, because like you, Chad, we want to tell everybody yes.
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing an uptick in COVID activity? I know we're seeing more of an uptick with our employees. We're seeing more of an uptick of patients calling in going, hey, I've been exposed, more than we saw when everything was kind of shut down a little bit. And I don't know, just curious.
I have a question. I don't, pardon my ignorance, but you use big words all the time. What's COVID?
That's a big one.
Yeah. It's the flu.
Oh, okay. Yes, we are seeing that. Yeah, we are seeing
There's so many ways I could have gone with that, and none of them were appropriate. So I just kind of laid off. Thank you for answering that, JJ.
Can I tell you one of the most inappropriate things I did today?
Yes.
One of the most. So a patient came in, they had a lesion, and and they were like, yeah, this thing popped up a couple of days ago. It's really sore and ulcerated. And I just looked, and then I was like, I'm pretty sure it's COVID. And she went, what? And I said, I'm just kidding. I've just been really wanting to say that to somebody.
This is what happens when, so I'm going to call you a mature dentist now. You're still a young dentist in my eyes. But you're a mature dentist. You've been doing it for a while.
The new dentist program anymore.
You've got your chops. You're lecturing. You're a big shot. You know, you're a mature dentist. I don't care what you want to say. But as a mature dentist, one of the things that happens sometimes is you're like, yeah, I could say that if I want to. And today I had a pink mask on, and it's just what we had. It was a pink mask, and you know, right now you take what you can get. And so I had the pink mask on, and my patient says, oh, I love it. You're wearing a pink mask. And I said, yeah, I wore it for Breast Awareness Month. She thought it was funny, but you know what? You can't get away with that stuff.
Keep her around.
A young dentist, you don't say that.
No. You know.
Oh, go ahead, Chad.
Hey, I just want to say something. I know that that we are all joking around right now. We're having a lot of fun. We always have a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun, is it not?
It is. I love Wednesdays.
But I want to throw something out there. We've got a lot of viewers right now, and I want to throw something out there that makes my heart very happy. JB rocked it on Monday night. We had an Align webinar through Catapult Education, and she just killed it. It was amazing. I was so proud to see her growth. I was so proud from the reviews that we got from it. And I encourage everybody to go back and watch it. Go back and watch her PPO, and we have a surprise. She's going to share some of her PPO highlights next week. But this girl right here is a natural born star, and she made her two big brothers so very proud on Monday night.
Can I say something, Chad?
What?
And you know, all the Southern people. No, the Southern people will get this. You know, maybe not everybody, but I felt like a daddy who had his daughter at the debutante ball. I was very proud, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, but JB, this is what you were meant for. You're a rock star, and it's just so awesome to have you with us.
Thank you so much. First off, I had a great time. It was really easy to do because I was doing it with two people who I love and appreciate so much. And then Lou was there too. So we had that going for us. I'm kidding. Yeah. It was just a joke.
That'll be your last catapult gig.
Yeah, well,
Ooh, that was short-lived.
yeah. That's pretty much a day in my career. So anyway, but that made it so much easier and comfortable. And I don't know, it felt like just being home, which was really the best way, I think, to have an opportunity to share with others what we do every day, right?
It was a blast. And, you know, kind of like we do here, we got to play off each other a little bit and each talk about our own experiences in a little bit different way. And it was a lot of fun. Look for a lot more of that stuff. Am I echoing right now?
You know, Jeff, I believe that you're in the Coastal Carolina Stadium because the Chandeliers are like 10-0, baby. And
how about that? Game day. We beat BYU. How much better does it get? You know, we won a College World Series just a couple of years ago. I mean, this is Conway, South Carolina. Look at what we're doing, man. We're on the map. Chad, you're the redneck in the group now.
That can't be right.
Why?
Because I'm here.
Well,
because of that? How about that?
No. Well, honestly, where you are, no, it doesn't matter where you are. You're not that smart.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I'm kidding, buddy.
I could say so many things, but you know what? People don't want to hear us BS all night.
Oh, they don't? That's not why they said
all
that.
Right. Well, let me tell everyone about the program tonight. So I am totally excited about tonight's program because we have another really special guest, and I know the hits keep coming, but it's amazing the support and the interest in what we're doing has been amazing, and we've had a lot of people express that they'd like to be on the show, and so it's been absolutely incredible. But tonight we have much more than just a fan, much more than just a dentist, much more than just another guy. We've got social media mogul, founder of Joyful People, and DSO founder and consultant, but most importantly, our friend Eric Roman is on the show tonight. And of course, it would never be a show without JB giving us a little bit of news. I hope you got something. Don't ever do that in front of a guy. I've told you that before. Don't ever do that in front of a guy.
I got just a little bit of news. Just a little bit.
Hey, before we get to the news, John Cassidy is out there and he's like, go chants, go this, go that. I asked John what a chant is, and I mean, it's radio silence. I mean, I'm just waiting for John to come back and see if he really knows what a chandelier is.
Not know what a chandelier is.
I'm sorry, baby. Go ahead, John. We're glad you're here. I'm totally jacking with you. Please bring it, man. I want to know. I want an explanation.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we do that, I want to know what you guys are sipping on because I've got a little decoy tonight. I was feeling fruit, and I went with some Zinfandel tonight.
I love a decoy Zinfandel.
Yeah, that's a killer bottle. Chad, what are you drinking?
Well, I bought a nice little cab called Story Point, and the facts is that with the amount of wine that we've gone through COVID, we're going broke. So we're going to the budget wines that are on sale during the week. Story Point had a really nice label, and actually it's a freaking fantastic wine. We really enjoyed it, and it's not like dirt cheap, but it's damn good.
Hey, I'm all about a great drinking, economical table wine for when it's just you sucking it down, right? JB, how about you?
I'm just drinking a nice table red. Nothing too fancy, but I will tell you, our dinner was super fancy for a Wednesday. So it just happened to work out that we bought this really nice beef tenderloin on Sunday. We went out to look for a Christmas tree, and apparently there was a drought in 2008. And so there are almost no Christmas trees. And so our whole day was shot trying to find Christmas trees, one lot after another. We had this beautiful beef tenderloin sitting in the fridge that never got cooked. So we ended up cooking it late last night. We had a light Wednesday dinner, and then this beautiful table red. So, nothing too fancy to go along with our super fancy meal.
So I got to throw this out because, you said hunting for a Christmas tree, and I know you would never believe this, but I would have been your connection for the Christmas tree because this Jew sold Christmas trees every single Christmas. My dad owned an underground sprinkler company in New Jersey. So guess what we did in the winter? He bought a trailer, set it up, and the Jews were selling Christmas trees. Every winter.
God, dude, you brought it up before I did, but I was like, wait a second. Yeah. All of my Jewish friends don't have Christmas trees.
Oh, no, we didn't have one. We just sold them. We drank Southern Comfort in the trailer.
That sounds perfect.
And sold all the goyim. People know what that means. We sold all the goyim their Christmas trees.
I love it, man. I love it.
Oh, that's so good.
Let's get to the news so Eric can go.
And I wonder how we get reputations.
Yeah, I think that's been solidified.
All right, JB, do the news.
All right. Well, in first news, I feel like I should do a PSA based on Chad's last statement. We now subscribe to Last Bottle, which is this like clearance wholesale thing for wine, where they get cases that maybe they're down to like the last few cases. So we've picked up some pretty nice wines on Last Bottle, and it's usually like 50 to 60% off. They're not sponsoring me. They are absolutely filling my cabinetry, but the UPS guy now asks us when he delivers our Last Bottle boxes on a regular basis if we have a problem. So I'm just saying you can really pick up some great wines at a pretty discounted fare. So maybe tell
Ellen. Credit?
What?
Do they offer credit?
Oh, sure. I'm sure.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Like, we'll pay you after COVID?
Yes, Care Credit. Care Credit now sponsors Last Bottle. In other news, I actually just want to take this moment to encourage everybody to contact their congressman. This is an all call, and I don't do that very often, but I really think you need to reach out to your congressmen, your senators. Reach out to your membership organizations. If you're a member of the ADA, AGD, specialty organizations, niche organizations within dentistry, let them know how you feel about PPP and tax forgiveness. There's a lot of activity happening right now, and I think we need to be very verbal about how much we would like some relief from that tax burden. I don't know about you, but I've run the numbers, and it's a pretty significant swing financially for our practice if PPP is going to get the tax forgiveness or not. And so I think it's just really important for our members of DINKs to start to reach out and contact. This is kind of one of those opportunities where if you want to have any control over your future fate and your financial burden, that you get out there and start contacting and networking with individuals. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of conversation. There's actually a lot of pressure to maybe get this done before the end of the year, and certainly maybe before mid-January. And so it's really important that we reach out. Yeah.
There used to be like a place, and I know this sounds ignorant, but there used to be like is there a way that we could find who we need to email, or that we could post something on DINKs that would help people reach out to those that we need to?
Why don't I check? So the ADA and the AGD have often had these just click here. Here's a pre-form letter about how you feel about a certain topic. And then they would send it to your appropriate representatives. So if something like that is existing for the ADA, I'll find out about it and let you know. But I'm going to imagine that there is an opportunity if you're a member, but it usually has to come through one of those larger organizations that has that internal system. Otherwise, just Google your zip code and find out who your senator and your House of Representatives person is and reach out, especially if they're participating in any of the financial committees or have any involvement in the PPP. definitely in those areas where you have elected dentists, they would be great advocates for why we need this. And frankly, it's just really important for not only us, but for all small businesses who are out there struggling. So if you have close friends and colleagues that run other types of small businesses, they need to be involved as well, even on not an organized fashion. So,
and if anybody lives in a great state, I mean, I don't know what state I might be talking of. Just go ahead and reach out to me, because I'm going to blow up the TDA's lobbyist phone. So please, I got his number and we will blow it up. So if you happen to be from a great state, then get a hold of me.
And I would just say that's a great opportunity to create a relationship with, we don't talk a lot about lobbying or relationships with representatives and senators, but when you develop those relationships, maybe you throw them a couple bucks as well, but you actually have those conversations, you start to become that person that they lean on for that information moving forward. And we know for a fact that this PPP is just a drop in the bucket of the legislation that's going to come out in the next 12 months related to COVID, employee protections and safety mechanisms, infection control, vaccines, testing, et cetera. And so, you know, we want dentists to be a part of that conversation. We want to participate in the response. We want to be valued and essential moving forward in January, and participating in the overall health of the citizens of this country. So make yourself known, let them know who you are and that you're there as a resource for them. I'm sure $50 would get you even better of a meeting, but you know, that's the way that the wheels get greased in politics. So
Jay, I really want to echo something that you said, because for me, I didn't realize that was possible, you know, until my time in the AGD. That's where I got to meet Paul Gosar. That's where we got to lobby on the Hill. And, you know, and we found out really how easy it is to get these kinds of meetings and how easy it is to lobby. But within your state, it is even easier. So especially your representatives want to hear from you. They have people on staff that are just sitting there waiting for their local constituents to call, and they want to fight for the things that their local constituents want. So you don't even have to be a bigwig in the AGD. All you have to do is just be, hey, I'm Joe Blow, concerned dentist. I'm in your district. I'd really love to have a chat. And, you know, it may not be the representative the first time. It may be, you know, one of their admin staff. It may be, you know, one of their interns. But if the message is strong enough, it ends up going to the representative or to the senator. Yep. So, I mean, I can't stress how accessible that really is. My office manager called Lindsey Graham's office when we were having a problem in the insurance world. It was solved in 24 hours. She didn't speak to Lindsey Graham. She spoke to one of his staffers. Yep. But, you know, if you say, hey, I'm a constituent, I've got a legitimate concern. If it's legitimate, they'll handle it. I don't think you can complain about your neighbor's fence, but
you can. You can.
You done that?
Yeah. Yeah. And a check usually helps.
Chad, I've seen your fence. You have a horse behind it.
Yeah. Hey, JB, can I see your wine glass real quick?
Why?
Just rotate it around. Oh, I just wanted to make sure that the lipstick was rubbing off.
Why would it not?
They're really chapped.
I didn't know if like it was permanent or if it was just kind of
tattooed.
No. Yeah, I got it tattooed yesterday.
We just got a request for a legislator. I know that we had Paul Gosar on a little while ago, but I would love to have a local or United States legislator on that's a dentist. And I know that we had several elected to Congress. So from what I hear, JB is on it. I mean, she's going to get us a
Let's do it. I thought Paul Gosar did a great job. Let's get more. You know, it's not about partisan politics.
Yeah, let's get the new people before they're fully elected, and then their technology connection won't be so compromised by the federal government.
Right.
You know, we'll be able to actually get on a normal Wi-Fi connection and have a conversation instead of some of the security measures that are in place to protect our elected officials. So,
yeah, I agree. So,
so that's an all call for everybody because there's a lot of activity. 500 different organizations this week sent out letters to different legislating groups to start to lobby for efforts for tax deduction or PPP relief with tax deduction. So it's a hot topic. It's on everybody's mind and frankly is affecting a lot of the decisions that we're all making as dentists right now. It's how much cash flow is tied up with an unknown tax bill waiting for me in April versus, you know, if we get that forgiveness. So I will, number one, my marching orders are to find a legislator or two that might come on and come spend some time with us to talk to us about what's really happening on the inside. And two, see if I can get you guys a couple links so that you can start putting some letters together and get that information out. We are strong in numbers. And, you know, that's one of the things as dentists collectively, we've done extremely well, even when you compare it to medicine and some of the other professional organizations. We really seem to stick together very well and fight for the good cause. So we'll get that information out and see if we can't participate in some civic duty responsibilities.
Love it.
That's great. And I know that John Cassidy just mentioned someone that we should get on. And so we may reach out to John. Kevin or Tom Rice is who he mentioned. So
Tom Rice is great. We know him very personally. He is he's actually a Myrtle Beach attorney. He's handled a bunch of stuff for a lot of us here in the local area. But Tom Rice has been an absolutely amazing representative for this area. Very outspoken. But I mean, I'd love to have him as well, but I'd sure love to see some of those dentists come on as well.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an important part of staying engaged in the conversation. And, you know, we're one of the few programs out there that's giving folks real-time information about what's happening and putting it in a digestible format, hopefully that they can process for the next day. So we have an opportunity to get that information out quick and fast, and we can respond. So I'm excited.
All right, Dave. We've had a bunch of banter tonight, which I love. I could do this all night. It's fun because you two know I love you very much. But we've got a great guest that we've got to get on here. So, JB, will you do the honors of introducing our guest since you have known him way longer than Chad and I have?
It would be my pleasure, but it won't be a formal introduction. It will be from experience and my heart. So Eric Roman is joining us tonight. He is a dear friend, colleague, confidant that has been in my life since our first day of dental school in 2007. We've gone through lots of changes and lots of growth, both professionally and personally over the last 15 years, I guess. When you talk about going on the Hill and lobbying, one of my fondest memories of Eric was me and three of my male colleagues going on ASDA and lobbying as students on student debt relief. And they were all dressed in really dark black suits. And I was like this bright blonde female walking with them. And it kept drawing attention until the point that we were all convinced that they thought that I was somebody like really special and high up walking with these three individuals in what looked like Secret Service suits. So then, as you know, young kids that we were, we started playing that up a bit and we really enjoyed it. But that was a super enjoyable trip. We got to meet Harry Reid when he was the minority leader. We had some really exciting opportunities while we were up there. Eric and I go way back to dental school. We did our residency together at the VA hospital in Fayetteville. We've grown up in group practice and individual practice. It is a thrill, an honor, makes my heart feel good to have him here tonight because I've missed him.
Eric!
It's good to be back with friends. Hi, guys. How are you all doing? I
feel like great to see you, man. Thank you.
Amazing to see you, buddy.
You, Chad, Jeff, Jennifer, oh, you mean so much to me. I've been texting your husband the entire night.
Have you really?
Yeah, sorry. So we're just talking about you behind your back.
Eric, I'm not her husband. I'm not her husband. I'm just saying. You've been.
Oh,
yeah, that's a mistake. Brian. His name is Brian.
It's got to work.
Clear that up. Clear
Hey,
that up.
Eric, can I get Brian's number? Because I need to get a hold of him a few times a week too.
Yeah, that's how it all started.
Guys,
Yeah.
really getting awkward. To know me is to love me. That's all I can say. All right. So
More. Hi, guys.
we're glad you're here.
I know. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be in the know with the knowers.
Well, we're attempting to be in the know. So we're going to dive right in. I want to talk to you a little bit about your journey because I think you have an interesting story. So we did the VA residency together, had a grand time. You stayed in Fayetteville. You built some practices there that evolved into this interesting network of practices and maybe snowballed a bit and kind of created this whole thing. So let's talk about it.
I'd love to.
Let's get into that PPO world.
Yeah. Are you asking, was that a question, Jennifer, or was that a comment, or is there a question that is forthcoming that you would like me to address?
A lob.
Yeah.
I like this guy already.
I like him too. Yeah.
Guys, I know how you I'll clean it all up.
Eric, her head is getting like this now. I mean, she's had so many wins these last couple of weeks.
I know. Not easy.
Don't worry. This has resolved all of that.
So Jennifer, I'll clean up your statement of undeterminate origin. You know what? I spent the first decade of my career on the dark side, on the PPO dental group, like DSO world was where I spent 10 years. That was never.
Why you went to the Anakin look?
Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
because you got the Anakin look. Dark side, dark shirt.
I have the whole robe and everything, lightsabers. I got it all covered. I'm the full package with dark side. So that was the first part of my life was in building a group. Functionally, about 50% of our revenue on an annual basis was from PPOs, and I know that's an incredibly contentious topic. Always has been, always will be, and I'd love to talk about it. And you know, we grew a lot of different people and dentists and locations and all sorts of stuff. And then I walked away from it, and I turned and I went a different direction with my life. So yeah, that's kind of the first part of the story.
So in 2000, what did you, 18, 19, you left North Carolina?
I did. I turned my back on North Carolina. I left behind all the great things like Deuce Robertson, and well, pretty much that was the best thing in North Carolina. But and Jennifer, I'm just kidding.
Did you just drop a deuce?
he just dropped a deuce. Hey, and
Is that that's a drinking game, isn't it? When you drop a deuce?
no, and let me let you know what Deuce just dropped too. I got to throw this out there because what did I ask you in the pre-show? I asked you if that was organic chemistry back there. Deuce just chimed in and said, does he have organic chemistry on his chalkboard?
That's the way I operate, guys. You know what? This brain just flows. It's like a beautiful mind back there on my black whiteboard. And so, yeah, good stuff. That's where the magic happens.
Is it?
No.
Mm-mm. Anywho, so you left me. You went to not the West Coast, but somewhere 500 miles slightly east of West Coast.
You know what? It's interesting, Jennifer. A lot of people in my life looked at me like I was completely crazy, like I was a total nut job. We had been in North Carolina for almost 20 years at that point. My family was from Florida. I'm an East Coaster. So when I decided to step away and to exit that existence and that life, we wanted to go to a place. We had no family. We functionally had no friends. We had only, actually, it's kind of funny. Chad, do you know that when Chad and I met out here in Salt Lake City, that was actually the weekend that my family decided that we were going to move out here for good.
Yeah. And, I met you And I'll never forget meeting you because Eric, you are truly a brilliant mind. And you told me, you're like, I'm moving to Salt Lake City, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, what's going on? And you were trying to explain things to me. And you know, as JB and Jeff could tell you, it was way above my league. And I was like, dude, I'm all in. Just keep talking. Just keep talking. So
yeah, so that was the moment. That was the moment we decided to go do something different. And, you know, for the past 18 months, you know, it's been a completely different life and a completely different focus. And I actually, it's kind of funny. I know it sounds weird. Nobody would recognize me, you know, pre-long hair and all that sort. It's an outward symbol of an inward shift is what we'll call that hair. But I don't even recognize who I previously was, even just 18 months ago. And it's interesting because I've spent a lot of that time working with other dentists who maybe feel a little bit of that spirit inside, like they're living a life or they're stuck in a life that isn't exactly what they were created for or called to. And it can be difficult at times because what we all do inside of dentistry is absolutely positively one of the hardest things in the entire world for so many different reasons. And man, you gotta have thick skin, you gotta have a thick heart, you gotta have a thick brain in order to do it in the first place. So it's been an interesting journey for me after leaving that world behind.
So let's talk about that because
can I jump in on this because
get in there.
I think a lot of people, JB, you know a lot of Eric's backstory. I knew Eric really well when he was in the middle of that 10-year run and when he was involved with the AGD. But I guess what was the trigger for you in practice? And then let me know what the trigger was, and then tell us a little bit about that journey. Like, what did it look like from the time you had the big idea to the time it came to fruition?
The trigger, that's a good question. So you asked me 7 questions. I didn't write them down, so I'm gonna have to go in order. You know, the trigger, the first thing I started to realize when I was in dental school, Jeff, that as interesting as the dental portion was, like, I was really intrigued by the concepts of how these businesses actually succeed and grow. And then the concept of how we have an impact in the lives of others, right? Like the concept of I'm one domino and I can touch only so many patients in my life, like with my care, right? But the concept of, is it possible for us to better address some of the need that might exist? Again, this is a contentious issue, but by being able to support and grow other people so that if they're operating at 100 or 200% of their original capacity, are we doing a greater service to mankind? And are we opening up other ways for employees and for people to have growth mechanisms inside of companies? That's a lot of what it's been about. So the trigger was like this awakening that I actually always thought when I started dental school, I was just going to be a solo practitioner. And yet someday towards the end of like school, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And when I was in residency, while I spent like $18,000 doing continuing education, and I don't even think I made $18,000 in that year. And we did. And I was recognizing that I was just passionate about growing something to really have a life of its own and to be bigger than just me. And so that might have been the trigger. What was the second question, Jeff?
The second question is just and this is loaded because I'm from South Carolina, so everything is gun related. You know, every reference I make will have something to do with firing, triggers. You know, it's going to be in there somewhere. What was the journey like, though? I mean, from the time you said, here's what I'm going to do, bam, I'm done. This is not my life anymore. What does that journey look like? You know, what or the Cliff's Notes version of it anyway?
The journey was freaking hard. The journey blew up in my face at one point, Jeff. You know, 3 or 4 years into it, I thought that I was on top of the world, and I had this really big company overnight that I thought was worth a ton of money. I ended up in this massive states' rights lawsuit that blew up in my face and ended up taking away, like, I didn't even have a job when that thing crashed, right? And so
$18,000 a year sounded good, huh?
dude, like I remember the night that the newspaper, like that it hit the newspapers literally across the country. And I remember sleeping upstairs because I was not allowed in my own bedroom at this point. And I remember crying on my pillow thinking like, everything, just when you think that everything's together, like hello COVID, just when you think that everything in your life is all together, you've got a plan for how you're going to win. The whole thing blows up inside in your face from some unknown force that you never saw coming, right? And so it was a really powerful lesson. And Jeff, honestly, like that's what the journey was about. And the journey was about a lot of pain, and about how I transformed pain to actually find gifts that I didn't know I had. And so it was definitely not a straight path. You know, there were a lot of points of almost being bankrupt along the way too. And it was a really horrible experience at some points for my family, Jeff. The choices that I made at one point to grow a company and to build this company had nearly catastrophic effects on my marriage and on my relationship with my children at one time or another. So, and you know what? It's no different for any of us. Like I work with dentists every single day that it doesn't matter what part of it is, like what we choose to do can have that magnitude of effect on our lives. Right. And so it was a lot of pivots, Jeff. Like the story is about pivoting. It's about using negative energy and turning it into positive growth. And that's really what the story comes down to. We could get into a bunch of details, but man, everybody wants to hear that it's a straight line. Well, we did this and then it was better and then it was better. It's like a crooked line with like detours and backed up things. And but at the end of the day, the interesting thing is kind of funny. I got exactly what I had planned for. It just didn't look anything like what I thought. And so that's kind of the story.
Well, I don't want to dominate this interview, but I want to tell you thank you for your honesty, because I know our listeners I appreciate that. I think that's one of the keys to any successful business is just honesty. And even with what we do, we try to just, put the reality out there. It's not all roses and champagne every day in life. And I just personally, I really appreciate you being so forthright about that. So I'll turn it back over to Jeff.
I receive you saying that, but I want to acknowledge the fact that let's go look in the mirror at our industry. We lie to each other all the time. Nobody wants to admit the crap that's going on inside their lives. And sometimes our greatest opportunities are some of the things that destroy our families more than anything in the world, right? And that's a lot of what my path has been since stepping away, has been in supporting people that are trying to do incredible things, but are having these negative outcomes along the way that are challenging their vision, their ability to be the visionary that they are, right? And so, thank you, Jeff, for acknowledging that. And I really do. If I have a prayer for our industry and for dentists, it's like, let's be open and honest about really the crap that's going on, and let's be more willing to share in candor, because actually that's the pathway out of the darkness too, brother.
Absolutely.
Having people to support you.
Yeah.
Well, and we found that to be true, as we talked about this week about how much we miss the forced fellowship that we had amongst each other. And in those times of fellowship, there were some real moments about connecting through pain and the tests that we were going through personally and professionally. And, it validates the need in our profession for community and for safe spaces to be able to have those darker, deeper conversations. But I think I want to dive a little bit into how did that, because one of the things that's always been impactful about the way that you learn and where your brain has always sort of focused was the culture, building up a community around you. How do you encourage people around you to succeed, find those gifts within themselves, maximize those opportunities within your organization so that you're somehow cultivating the best and the brightest out of the people you've surrounded yourself with. And I know that's something that you've focused heavily on. So I'm going to phrase it in a question. Help the viewers of the program tonight kind of understand the methodology, the thought process, how you're working through that both previously in your former DSO life, but now also separate from that a little bit in more of a consulting role or support person.
Okay, I can work with that.
Thank you.
Jennifer, what was interesting? I realized early in my career, if I had like $1 for every time I heard like a dentist, and it was originally me say, everything in my life would be easy if I just didn't have to manage all these freaking people or deal with all this crap every day or constantly be putting out a fire, or like just when you think you take 2 steps forward, all of a sudden you realize you're taking 3 steps back and 3 team members quit on you, right? Mm-hmm. Even when I was just running one practice, and I remember my least favorite thing on a daily basis, I did everything. I abdicated responsibility for managing my team. Mm-hmm. That's why we hire office managers, because we don't want to do that crap. Let's be honest about it, right? Nobody wants to touch that. Nobody wants to deal with it. Like, and so I even remember, I remember it's like 4:30 p.m. I'm in an endo. My office manager comes in. She's like, Dr. Raymond, we have to have that important conversation with the hygienist this afternoon. You know what I mean, right? You know what that means, right? Like, you did something wrong. You got to have that talk. I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, this is a really hard endo. And so like 5:30 gets there and she's like still like tapping her foot. She's like, we have to have that conversation. Like, I'm like, and I hated this so much. I waited till she walked down the hallway, closed that puppy up, walked out the back door, in my car, bolted out of there. And she calls me and she's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, my wife needs me at home. Something important going on. Why don't you handle that without me? That's how much I despise having to deal with those conversations. But when I had made a commitment to growing a company that was bigger than me, somewhere along the line, like, you got to have people. And so I had to force myself into figuring out how to have great relationships. And you know what? We spend too much freaking time inside our offices with our team members to dislike it, right? Like, how often do we talk about how like, oh man, it's such a, like, all the things going on. I just got to get home. Well, guess what? Like, if you can't enjoy the 8 hours a day that you're in there with these people, life's not going to be a whole lot better when you get home, because you're going to be out of energy and it's not going to be serving you in any way, shape, or form. So I recognized I got to figure this crap out. I didn't like it. And so, over the course of 10 years in running dental companies, I think the number is now, I had over 2,000 employees, and I never had more than 250 at any point, which gives you an idea of how crappy I was as an employer. But here's the interesting thing, like, in going through that, after all that time and all those horrible conversations that blew up in my face, I hated performance reviews. I hated all that stuff. As I got towards the end of it, I figured it out. And when I exited operating a dental company about 18 months ago, I can promise you guys something I did not anticipate, but the thing I miss more than anything in the world is being surrounded by people. And, in hindsight, there's just this awareness that, like, that's actually so much of the gift that we've been granted as dentists, is the impact that we get to have on the lives of other people that may not actually be our patients. And, you look right now at what's going on inside the world of employment. It's just like this us versus them mentality that is so prevalent, and we live with it every day. That has to stop. And so, Jennifer, I'm grateful that I was granted the gifts to be able to learn how to do this better. Man, I tried everything. I read every book. I went to every program. I did all of it. And at the end of the day, we were really renowned for a lot of the cultures that we built. And it was funny, Jennifer, because a lot of people always said to me, oh, well, Eric, like, you're a fun guy. Like, of course you built a great culture. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You see the culture in the end that I built that everybody was talking about. You didn't see the 4 other cultures I built beforehand that sucked, right? So the same guy built good cultures and bad cultures. Like, how is that possible? It's just a system, and that's part of one of the things I do now is we simply are sharing that system. It's called Joyful People, but it's just a thing. Like, thank you for shameless plugs, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
it's an online, it's an online, simple online training, and it's really a philosophy deep down inside, because nobody ever engaged us. I mean, we knew we had to learn stuff about business in dental school, but nobody ever said that the real measure of your capability is going to be how you relate to your team members. And that's like, and the best part too is seeing what my team members went on to do after I wasn't there. Was really a remarkable thing. I just literally got a message today about another team member that now took on a like high-powered consulting role that like, and I remember when she was just 2 days out of dental assisting school, and like her only dream in life was to make $13 an hour, And so
I was on a podcast a few weeks ago, and we were talking about one of the questions that came up was, employers complain. They make all these investments with employees that come in, then they leave. And how do you rectify that investment? And not to answer for you, but my response was, but if they came in better than when they left, then we found value in that employment. Like they came in and look, our practice doesn't love the turnover, and we do have to manage that and deal with it.
Right.
But I still feel like a job well done is when a employee comes in and leaves our practice better than they left. Or I hear from a sales rep, well, if they came from that office, I promise you they're competent. Like they can do things that are above and beyond. And so, to your point, the value in investing in people, and not just being dentists and investing in patients, which we do regularly and take the burden of that, both personally and professionally, but also the same for our people. And how is there anything left of us at the end of the day if we're really taking on the burden of our people and our patients?
That's part of the journey, is how are we able to have the energy left to find joy? That's part of what it really comes down to, is that you guys are giving so much right now in every single way. Like Jennifer, joy. You have a husband, you have children. We have decoy wine that we give a lot of our energy to.
Correct.
Joy.
We have our own financial lives. We have our own accounting and taxes. We have homes. We have children that are sick, that may have disabilities. Like that's enough. And we aren't even talking about all the crap that's going on inside your business, right? And that's even before we get to the burden that we unnaturally bear for the health of our patients. And guys, like there is nothing worse than they're actually starting to consider making it an actual term in the psychology disorders for the unique psychological complex of what we assume as healthcare providers for our patients' health. And so, I mean, you put all those things together and we are a hot mess. But Jennifer, like at the end of the day, to your point about like people, I ask a simple question: what would you want for your children? In other words, when I look at my team members and I think about how we're relating to them, what would I want for my own children if they were in a similar environment? You have a team member, you have team members that like probably aren't a great fit, that could leave, but it's going to be a crap show to train up another person to replace them. So you offer them an extra $1.50 an hour to like endure a thing in a place where they don't belong. Would you want that for your kids? And so, that's been a lot of the basis for what Joyful People is really in thinking about what is in the best interest of humanity and humanity as a whole. And so it's okay for us to have this philosophical approach if we have the systems and the capability to simply replace that person with somebody of an equal or better caliber, right? And if we can do it without being an extraordinary energetic expense, like my life is about managing energy because I only have a finite amount, right? So, thank you for that point, Jay.
Yeah.
So I want to keep our guests on here for a short amount of time. And I also want to be selfish and say, Eric, you're going to be back on here, probably numerous times.
Yes.
So let's save some of
So you got that going for you.
You're going to have to change it to DINKs then.
Okay, so
with an A.
With
DINKs.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of German.
So many things that just resonate with all of us. But one of the things, your group, Joyful People.
Yeah.
How would you I don't even know how to propose this, but there are dentists out there, especially in the times that we're in right now, that are really struggling.
Yeah.
That are having a hard time financially. They're having a hard time personally. They're having a hard time emotionally in their relationships, so on and so forth. Is there one piece of advice that you could give them that really might hit home? Or is there something that you would say to them that might help them out? Because I know they're out there.
The answer is hells yes. You know what, Chad? It's actually, I'm going to do a share for you, and my team's going to freaking hate me because it's going to require work of them in the background. I actually did a webinar yesterday specifically about this topic, about the darkness of what we experience right now, of what's going on. Because I do one-on-one coaching with dentists and entrepreneurs, and I also do group coaching. And it's amazing how many people are talking about exactly what you're saying right now, Chad. Like, since it's almost like in November, almost every single one of my clients has brought up some darkness. I'm having in communities, people are talking about those exact issues. But here's the power. And I'll tell you the first piece of it is that it's time for us to stop being freaking alone. Entrepreneurship is so lonely. And it's so amazing that we feel it's false. We have a false security of not being alone because we have these people that are around us every day. But guess what? You aren't sharing with your dental assistant the fact that you're making $350,000 or $500,000 or $700,000 a year, or not making any money whatsoever. You're not sharing that with your number two and talking about the issues, right? And so where do we have a safe place, Chad, where people actually care about us to be able to talk about these things? Not only that, though, and be able to share where we're finding solutions. That's what we need. And that, to me, I think is, we talk about how there's a lot of really interesting energetic shifts going on in the world right now with awakenings and like people that are waking up to realities. I think that more than anything in the freaking world right now, dentistry needs a massive wake up to the reality of what we've put ourselves into as clinicians and the roles we've thrust ourselves into, and the fact that like we're actually living really freaking hard lives, but it seems like it should be so easy. We're making top incomes relative to the population. Something's broken. We need to fix it. Don't be alone. That's my challenge, Chad.
God, Eric, I love
maybe
that.
I should say, Anakin,
Yeah.
The force is strong. The force is strong, Anakin. I mean, really, I get it. It resonates.
You're the best teacher is.
Fresh air. Yeah.
One thing I gotta say, and then I'm sorry, we're getting close on time, Eric, but we will have you back on again.
That's what they all say.
You remember this, but you had a very special impact on me. You introduced me to a piece of technology that has completely revolutionized my life. I don't know if you remember what that is.
He doesn't.
You showed me Uber.
I did.
You're like, hey, you got to try this. I'm like, damn, this is cool. And then you left your sunglasses.
As in part of my life, I talk in some of my communities, I do a lot of like biohacking and technological introductions. And so it could have been literally anything that I introduced you to. And so that brings me joy that it was as awesome as Uber.
It was Uber, man. You changed my life that day. We took a ride together to the airport, and then you left your sunglasses.
That's the way I operate.
It only
you probably left your briefcase, your laptop, your life, your wife. You probably left everything at the hotel, Jeff. And all he left was
it wasn't me. He left it.
I left him. I remember that moment so distinctly, and I was so pissed.
I've left so many things in the back of an Uber.
You have my glasses. Yeah, that's
I was the finder. That's
and we pulled it all together, and it made, like, when I realized it, I was so frustrated. And then there he was, like a white knight on a horseback, coming over to me with that beautiful hair and handsome smile. Saved the day, Jeff.
Oh, listen
to you. Indulge one final thing. One of the things that Eric and I love to do together is escape rooms, and that is a deep-seated passion that we love. So if anyone would like us to do a small TED Talk on escape rooms,
Escapology. Can we just call it escapology because that's the scientific term?
Well, I have a better idea.
Jennifer, I'm gonna throw a bone out here for you. Did you know, for your community's sake, that Jennifer and I, as a part of a team with two other extraordinary dentists and people, we actually hold the all-time record for an escape room at the Fox in the Box location in Chicago, Illinois.
Don't mean to brag.
All-time record.
What is this? This is a fox in a box. What is this?
So I have a challenge. We are going to start doing DINKs live at locations around the United States.
Oh, city and escape room.
I want Eric at our first DINKs live, and we are going to go do an escape room, the four of us.
Wait, time out.
What? You mean we do a fox in a box?
I thought the first one was going to be when you got your face jacked up on Botox.
No, that was just going to be, I mean, that's not going to be like DINKs live. That's going
Yeah.
It's going to be DINKs live, like where we have a show, and Eric is we're going to go to an escape room.
Yes.
We're going to go do an escape room.
I don't know, guys. Eric and I are picky.
You and me, we're going to get injected. We're going to get rid of these wrinkles, and then we're going to go to an escape room. I love it.
Yes.
Do me next. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have any wrinkles there.
We're more tight on the forehead.
Yeah. The day after our last week, my son took a credit card and swiped it on my head and said, "How much was it, Dad?"
All right. Guys, this is so much fun. I could do this for 2 hours, but I think everybody's ready to get off. So
All right.
we ought to wrap it up.
Eric, thank you.
Guys, hey, you know what? I want to thank you guys for everything that you have that you guys have done. I think that everybody in your community knows how much work it is for you to pull this together and to make it a regular thing on a weekly basis. And it means the world to everyone that's here. And thank you also for being genuine, because there really aren't, I think, it's a unique combination when they put the three of you together. And so thank you for the commitment you've made and the way that you've chosen to serve all of us. Thank you, guys.
Well, right back at you for authenticity.
Hey, Eric, Cammy's in.
I know, I saw it. We're good to go. Call Callan, let's go.
We're going to run. It's really
We'll see you next time, brother.
That's bad. Eric, thank you so much, buddy. It was great to see you, and can't wait to see you again, and we will. Okay.
Yeah,
That was a blast. That was a lot of fun. JB, you redeemed yourself. No, I'm teasing. Great job. Great job.
Look who's talking.
Really? Mostly mine have gone without a hit, except for the lighting issue. But other than that, it's been good.
I know we're going to close it out. We're running over, but I got to say one thing, okay?
Yeah.
There's one person out there, and yes, I'm talking to that person right there that has been here every single show, almost the entire show. He loves his bourbon. I want to thank you.
I love him for that.
The deuce is loose. Thank you, Deuce. Thank you for being here every week. We appreciate you. Let's close it out, guys. What do you have to say? Jeffro?
Listen, I'm just happy to be firing on all cylinders. I'm so grateful for all of our followers. I'm so grateful for this. I just love it. Love you guys. Let's meet next week.
I'm grateful for JB bringing Eric. JB, what say you?
Can we talk about upcoming shows? Because I'm so excited about the one before Christmas. I can't even contain it.
I can't either, but we're going to have, what's next week, JB?
Well, next week, I think we're going to dive a little bit into the PPO world. I think we might showcase a little bit of that conversation. And I really want it to be an open dialogue. I want it to be fee-for-service practitioners, combo practices, DSOs, et cetera, et cetera. I really want it to be an open conversation about the landscape of insurance. So hopefully that will be enjoyable. But the 23rd.
It's going to be fun.
That'll be fun. Let's keep that a mystery because it's going to be a great show.
I'm super excited. We got our 3 guests.
It might be the highlight of my year.
Is Santa coming?
3 guests lined up. 3 guests.
Might be the highlight of my year.
Oh.
All right. Well, hey, thank y'all very much. We appreciate every one of you.
Good night, everybody.
And